Welcome to my pergola build. I will be doing a pergola in my backyard. This is part 2 of my series where I just redid my patio and I used pavers to give it uplift from the concrete pad that it was just there. And now we're doing a covered patio in Washington State where it rains and you definitely need some sort of space to enjoy your time outdoors but still be protected from the weather when it rains all the time. So right here, I got a pro tip for you guys that I learned from the patio where you have to carry 3,000 pavers into your backyard. I had the lumber delivered straight into the backyard. I set it up on my little stands, my little piggy pony stands, whatever you call them. My lumber, I got a couple of beams, and then I got my 6x6 posts. This is treated, pressure treated, #1 Doug fir that I had to go to a lumber supplier to get. This cost me a whopping of about $1,100. And so what we're going to do right now is stain it before we do any sort of work with it. That way it's a lot easier to then do the cuts, and I don't have to stain it all up on the ladder, and it's a headache if I just really want to have it look nice and stain it. So I have 20-foot rafters right here. Then I have a 2x12, two 2x12 beams that we're going to use for the posts. The posts are 6x6, and I have one long beam that is 4x8 that I have roof risers that are going to sit on top of my roof. So this video is not only a pergola, but it is also a video that uses roof risers. So the sealant that we're going to be using for this lumber is going to be cedar natural stone. Picked it up at Home Depot. This is deemed to be the #1 sealer for 2026 that people are using for their home. Just to give you guys an idea of what we're working with here. Look at that. That is a nice, rich cedar. Has a little bit of brown tones to it. Has a little bit of warmth. I'm not going to use probably a brush. Probably use just a cloth. Yeah.
Ну чё, what's up, low gang? Мы здесь кайфуем. So we have our posts, all of our headers, all of our rafters over there. Glove ended up coming and staining them for me, which was great. I did the brackets, and then the brackets that are over there are a little too tight, and so we had to kind of end up getting about a 1/16 off on each end so that we can fit in there flushly. We're gonna end up just putting the posts up and then the headers on top, and then we'll throw the rafters on, and we'll see what we can get done in one day. That's kind of the update. You're good. And? Yeah. Ничего себе, флашный бас, okay? Давай. Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. That's why I needed your help. Alright, should be good. Alright, I'm holding it. Get up here. My glasses! You want to put it down? No, we got it. Okay. You want to explain what we did? Чё, мы типа такая вещь мы делали, такой классный, что это Bad Baby играет сейчас. Мы положили эти столбы, что как сказать. Мы совершенно темный, красивые такие, положили эти такие brackets, я не знаю, как сказать по-русски, и потом положили этот crossbeam, и потом все закрутили, все положили на место, и все красиво, четко, знаешь.
По-мексикански.
По-мексикански.
All right. Yep. That's what we got. We got double-sided, and then this will connect to the roof over there.
Oh, looking good though.
And yeah, that's how it is.
All
right, so we're in phase 2 of our pergola build. As you can see, we got our main structure over here away from the house. We got our 2 posts, threw up the beams, and we use our Simpson brackets to secure the 2x12s. And they are quite heavy, honestly. We were picking them up and down, and originally we bolted them up to the top end over there, and we realized it was too high of a slope. I just miscalculated, and so now we're gonna go over to the roof, and you'll see me there in a second, and we'll be attaching the low pro mounts that we got, the roof risers, and we'll do a whole tutorial of how I'll be attaching them to the roof to set up our beam on that end, to then string the rafters all the way along. Before we go up on the roof, I just want to point out, so these are the rafters that we'll be attaching the posts to, or the brackets to, and so it will be right before it goes up against the load, the wall, the load bearing wall, and we'll be attaching it. And so these go every 16 inches on center. They're strung across, so we'll be going and picking and measuring out the distances, and it's just a keynote for us to remember, is that it's every 16 inches is the center of a rafter. All right, so now we go up. Now, as far as the product that we're using today, these are the Pro roof risers, the low pros, and there are 2 variations of it. This is what the bracket looks like, where the 2x8 that I got will sit on. It mounts directly on top of the roof shingles, because they have this sealant that's going to provide squeeze out, and they are ensuring that it is going to be waterproof. It comes with a couple of bolts and then lags, screws to bolt down to the roof, and then the bolts are going across the beam to hold it in place. This does come apart by this bolt over here, and then we have pin locations on this end where you'll stick your pins once you find the angle or the degree of your roof. And so I read good things about them. A lot of people are starting to use these, and I think it will work out quite nicely. And it is a lot less labor intensive when it comes to ripping up your whole roof and ensuring that it's properly waterproofed, if I was to go the old-fashioned way. Okay, so as you can see, I marked out where the edge of the fascia board is. I think that's what it's called. And I measured how far it goes up on the roof, and it goes about 3 feet before it hits the wall. So we want to be about 1 inch down from that, where we want our bracket to sit. And then I marked out the straight line where the center of the rafter is by tracing it up and around the gutter with my square or triangle. And from there, from this line, I'll measure 3 feet up, ensure that I am still straight, and then mark my lines, and then we'll do a test drill from there. Little pilot holes to where we kind of approximately want it. All right, a quick update. I know it's kind of been a minute. I was out on vacation for a week, so I was able to do a little bit of work, but now that I'm back, here's what we got going on. We put the 4x8 beam up on the brackets, and we bolted with half-inch bolt and nut. And then I believe I showed you guys how to screw the brackets themselves into the rafters. I went ahead and put all 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. I spaced them out 4 feet apart, holding up this bracket, and then we got 2 feet of overhang on each side of
the end brackets there so it matches up with the center and then goes out, and on the end brackets it's 23 and 5/8 I believe on each side to be exact, and then it's 4 feet, and on this roof it was every 16 on center, the rafters, so every 4 feet would be the next rafter, and there's 2 rafters in between there. And I think the most important part is staying on the same shingle. And so my wall that's underneath holding up the roof is actually on the shingle that it's standing on. And so all the weight is going to be going up on that wall. In retrospect, I should have probably went down a shingle so that the bolts, that if just in case they do start leaking through, they have this squeeze out here. But if they do start leaking through, it would be dripping through the outside of the roof that is on the outside of the home, the overhang. So that's just in retrospect if I was to do this again, but I think we'll be good. So we set up the beam here, and we have an example of the rafters that are gonna be going across. I gotta cut the tops off on those 2, but that's what we have going so far. I just went ahead and drilled the 1/2-inch bolts through, and I gotta tighten them right now, but we'll be done with this beam section and they'll be going on to focus on the rafter installations. Quick little update. Turns out I'm gonna be taking little update videos instead of going through the whole process, but it's been raining, finally stopped. It's been a week of traveling as well for us, so finally getting to it. The rafters are here. They're all stained, but we needed to notch them to make them fit with the roof angle and ensure that they're sitting nice and flat. And so what we're doing with this is notching this top edge to sit on that top beam over there, and then on that end over here, then over here we have this notch for the beam that's over there. And then a little design feature that we did is we just cut it straight off, right, to make sure that they're all the same length, and then we just cut it on a 45-degree angle about 3 inches down, and that's the design that we're going with here. Well, what I'm going to do next is stain these areas where I exposed the fresh wood, ensuring that they stay water repellent, and then start throwing them up on the top of the all the way across. I got a quick little mistake that I got to share with you guys as well. If you come over here, if you look at the distance from that beam to this beam, it is about 17 feet. And my rookie mistake here, as you can see it's starting to rain, is, or actually this is hail, is that is a big distance for these rafters. These are 20-foot rafters, and where they're being supported is at 0 and at 17 feet. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't probably do this again, but in the future I'd move up the post just a bit more. Originally I was supposed to be at 14 feet. I kind of miscalculated, so that's my rookie mistake. But that's what we're about to be doing after we get some shelter, because it's gonna rain for the next probably hour. That's the update. We should go on the grass. Alright, so I have a little system of how I'm throwing these rafters up. Getting one end to touch that side, and then putting it up on the ladder, going up on the ladder, and getting it up here. So let's throw the rest of these up. I have 9 more to go.
See, I got the rafters up, and so now I got to make sure that they're spaced out evenly. And so I'll be doing a 4-inch inset on each side of the beam. Then that's what we're going to set our edge rafters to, and then the rest are going to have I did the whole math thing, used ChatGPT for that, but the rest are going to have 16 inches and 1/4 spacing in between, to get that even space. I just had a bee fly by me. Crazy. Yeah, so 16 and 1/4 between each rafter for that even space. And then I'll be using these Simpson brackets to tie them in right at the edge. And I think they'll give them that nice addition, nice accent to the pergola. And then up top, I'm probably gonna just use screws from both ends. I heard that's a good way to go about it. Also just as good. I just wanted the visuals over here. And yeah, so let's get that done. And then I gotta go make a Home Depot run and get some 2x4s so I can put them across for my roofing material to lay on. And that's gonna be my final step of the build. Boom, look where we're at. This thing is massive. Once it's fully up like this, it feels huge, all right? And I'm excited how it's gonna turn out. But currently, we've secured all the rafters and positioned them the way we wanted to, up on the beam over there, and then with the brackets over here. And so right now, yes, they're secure, they're not gonna move, but they are still wobbly to where they still need purlins on the top of them. And on top of the purlins is what the roofing material is gonna go onto. But for today, this is probably like day 4 of total of working on this. I got some more wood for the purlins, and essentially what it's going to be, I got 16-foot 2x4s, and I'm going to just slice them down the middle, cut them in half, and those are going to be my 2x2 purlins for the pergola. Anyway, I'm excited. That looks huge, way bigger than I anticipated, but it's somewhat still looks sturdy. So we'll see. Let's make it a little bit more sturdy, but it's turning out to look good. All right, so we cut all the purlins and I set them up on my little seesaw stands. Is that what they call them? So this is just regular Doug fir that I picked up at Home Depot, and they were just the cheapest option because I think I'm already a little over budget on this. And so I stripped them down into 2x2s the best I could, as you guys saw. Now I'm going to stain them with our amazing stain. And I don't know about you guys, but I think this color is amazing. It is voted the best color of 2026 and 2025 that people used for homes. And so we're going to stain them, and they'll be ready to throw on the top of the pergola, and that will keep everything reinforced. I do have a little spray gun to make myself go quicker and more efficient. So yeah, let's get her done. So this gun my brother-in-law gave me, and it is an electric spray gun that is corded. It's not cordless, but it has helped me out do all these types of small projects. And I've used it on the interior of houses, on the exterior, and quite honestly, yes, it might not be the best for when it comes to quality. You can definitely get a more expensive gun, but I think this is like a $30-$40 gun, and the amount of speed that you get out of it is amazing. And I would definitely recommend anyone to go up and upgrade from a roller and paintbrush setup, because I can never do that. now that I've went over to this. Okay, so let me show you guys how I will be spacing out these purlins. So what we got going on here, we got all of them up here. What we'll be doing is we'll be doing a one inch inset. So that's where the first one will begin. We'll tie a string to the end to make sure that they all come out the same way all the way down. And then I just divided the spaces between how long the rafters are all the way to, I have 11 purlins. And so the spacing that we need is 22 1/4 inches. So I just cut out a block and it will go in between each purlin as I screw them into each rafter. And I'll just make sure that's consistent all the way through. And then also ensuring that these rafters, they do move still, but they won't as I screw them in. I'm gonna ensure that I keep the spacing consistent all the way through as I connect more and more all the way across. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm a little light on cameraman today, and I'll try to get some footage of me just doing this whole process. I think it should take some time, but hopefully we can get it done quickly and safely. Okay, here's a little update. I got first edge and last edge all set up and screwed in. And then I ran a line from one edge all the way across to know how to equally offset all the rest of the purlins, how far they need to come out. And so it'll be equal on both ends because they're all the same size. And so now we just simply use our spacer blocks in between each rafter and then each purlin. We're going to be now looking at how to install these purlins, and I got a system down. I already showed you guys. I'm going to move this one aside right here. And we're going to install this one right here. So like I said, I already got a little system down. What we'll be doing is setting it across. We're butting it up right to this string right here, and that's how I know it will stay the same distance as it pops out everywhere else. I deck screws that are waterproof, obviously. I got them from my brother-in-law. He had a bunch extra, so I'm just using these. These are probably an overkill. They're huge, but that's how I know the distance. And then let me know when I'm touching that. Barely. Too much? Or no?
You're good.
I'm good?
Yeah. Yep. No. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So that's my first mark. Gonna go ahead and screw that in. Go ahead and get me screwing it in. Oh, a little bit more. There you go. So, and then I'm gonna go to the other side real quick, but then I stick these spacer blocks in, and that's how I know the rafters don't collapse on each other. And then go down the line. So I'm gonna do real quick, we're gonna do a quick little video of me installing these 3 rafters, okay? It's gonna be quick. Awesome. So here it is. This is the final result of the pergola build. We've put up our rafters. We had all of our 2x2s put up across for stability, and we strung up our string lights. We have a little table in the back, a little fire pit, a grill. It's kind of this environment now where we can just chill and enjoy our time outside. As you can see, it's a little rainy, so my next and final last part of the build would be to put on a clear plastic roofing material, and I'm still narrowing down the type of material for that. But this is the final product that I'm going to be showing. If anything, I'll update you guys of how it is with the plastic roof. Finally, please take a look at my wife's garden as it beats everything that I've done here. Thank you for watching.